Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Executive Corner Expert Talks presented by Kalkine Media. Today we are joined by Smedley, the chairman of Findi Limited. The ticker code is FND, a company driving fintech innovation in India. With a vast network of ATMs and cutting-edge digital payment solutions, Findi is transforming financial access across the country. Nicholas, an expert in investment banking and mergers and acquisitions, bring deep industry insights as we discuss Findi's growth, key milestones, and the future of fintech in India. Nicholas, great to have you here.
Thank you very much.
To start, could you give us a brief overview of Findi's vision and the role it plays in India's financial ecosystem?
Sure. Findi is targeting to really serve the underbanked and unbanked across India, which is approximately more than 800 million of the population. We currently have 200,000 Findi Pay merchant locations with the recent acquisition of Bankit in every state and territory. And we also have in excess of 15,000 ATMs across both white label and brown label, again, in every state and territory. So we're really there to serve the emerging middle class across India over the next decade and beyond.
That's fascinating. And speaking of growth, congratulations on the latest developments with State Bank of India and Union Bank of India. What key factors have helped Findi's Indian subsidiary secure these major opportunities?
It really comes down to our position in the market. We're the lowest cost operator in India for ATM services. We're also the best performer in the market. So as a result of that, State Bank of India chose to upgrade our existing contract with them by more than 54%, which it takes us now to over 6,500 ATMs with them over the next 10 years. And then Union Bank of India just last month announced us as a successful winner of another 900 ATMs out of their 3,000 ATM tender. So fantastic position for us.
With these new partnerships in place, Findi is clearly strengthening its market presence. How will the deployment of these ATMs impact your broader strategy in India?
What it does for us, it just increases margins, especially the SBI contract. It's actually our highest margin contract that we hold. So a 54% increase on that will help drive margins for 26 and beyond. And it gives us further penetration in more rural locations as well, which is very important for our Findi Pay and digital strategy moving forward.
That's a significant move. And from a financial perspective, what impact do you see these developments having on Findi's overall performance?
As of recently of last week, we put updated estimates for 2026, just in terms of percentage terms. As a result of these new contracts, we'll see 2026 drive between 140 and 180% revenue growth compared to FY25. And that will obviously filter down to EBITDA and a very strong NPAT performance for FY26.
Another big milestone for Findi is the regulatory approval for acquiring Tata Communications Payment Solutions Limited. Can you share more about this acquisition and how it fits into the white label ATM strategy?
Yeah, well, it's the last piece of the puzzle that we needed for our white label ATM strategy. With that RBI approval, we now have a white label license and we are settling on that transaction on the 28th of February, so just next week. And that is the last piece for us to be able to roll out our own ATMs as well as have our own switch and enable to drive further margin increase across our digital business as well. So we're very happy that it ticks all of those boxes for us now.
That's exciting. And alongside this, Findi is also set to acquire Bank IT Services Private Limited. How does this acquisition align with your broader growth strategy?
Yeah, so this really drives our digital side of the business. So as I mentioned before, the 200,000 digital merchant locations we'll have on the conclusion of this transaction, 130,000 of those, or more than that, come from this acquisition. So it really accelerates our digital strategy by 2 to 3 years and will mean that our digital revenue as a percentage of total revenue will be almost 30% now across the group, which is fantastic. One of the key KPIs for our upcoming Indian IPO.
Clearly, Findi is making bold moves in the fintech space. Looking ahead, what excites you the most about the future of Findi and India's fintech industry?
Well, for us, it's the appointment of Rothschild's Investment Bank as our corporate advisor for the listing of our business in India on the National Stock Exchange at the second half of 2026. So it's all steam ahead on that process, so where we can drive a significant re-rate on the Australian share price and repatriate a material amount of capital at the same time.
On the topic of future plans, could you provide an update on Findi India's IPO on the Bombay Stock Exchange? What does this mean for the ASX listing and the shareholders?
Well, for us, it basically means we'll be able to drive, hopefully close the arbitrage between the multiple that we're trading at in Australia, which is around 6 to 7 times EBITDA, versus where our listed peers in India are trading, which is in the order of 20 to 25 times EBITDA. So we'll be looking to close that arbitrage and drive significant future value for our Australian shareholders.
And in your latest market update, you mentioned expecting to double revenue by financial year 26. Will this be driven organically, through acquisitions, or a combination of both?
It's a combination of both. About 20 to 30% of the business is organic, of that growth is organic, and the rest of that is from the 2 acquisitions we've spoken about, Bankit, as well as the Tata Payments white label business that we settled on the 28th of February.
This has been an insightful conversation, Nicholas, with Findi securing major deals with major public sector banks like State Bank of India and Union Bank of India, expanding its white label ATM network through the Tata Communications Payment Solutions acquisition, and preparing for the IPO of Findi India. It's clear the company is making bold strides in the fintech space. Before we wrap up, is there any final message you would like to share, perhaps on what investors, customers, or stakeholders can look forward from Findi in the near future?
For us, it's really just continuing to deliver on our strategy for serving the underbanked in India. And from an Australian shareholder or Australian investor perspective, Findi Limited is the only way on the ASX to get direct exposure to the great opportunity that India holds for the world economy.
Thank you, Nicholas, for sharing your time and insights today. That's Mr. Nicholas Smedley, the chairman of Findi Limited. In case you have missed any bit of this interview, you can certainly catch the full interview on our YouTube channel at Kalkine Media and hear what he has to say about Findi Limited recent advancements. Do like, share and subscribe the channel for regular market updates, recent announcements and exclusive interviews. This is Monica signing off now.